Today, Off the Log welcomes Jason Goliath, a famous businessman and
Yes.
comedian.
Yes, famous for
And-
business.
And, Jason, I think when we met, you were running the two businesses, I think Melrose Hug
Yep.
and Melville at Goliath's Comedy Club. We will probably go a little bit about that, but we want to know how you relax, not about the jokes,
So the
but
downtime.
the downtime, because this is off the clock.
I like that.
But we can mix it up. But before we start, what do you have to say for yourself to me and my son?
Firstly, I think that this is adorable. Makes me very jealous. I hope my dad is watching. Dad, you never do cool stuff like this with me. I hope my dad is watching. My dad is also a mechanic and not, doesn't run a business, but he's retired now. So I forgive you, Dad. I'm not jealous at all of the relationship. Other than that, I'm quite honored and privileged. Really, I don't think as a comedian, generally people are inviting me to speak only about the jokes. But yes, we do run a business, and my downtime is from a business called Goliath and Goliath, and Goliath are kind of we call ourselves a comedy agency, but I think kind of evolving into more of a comedy agency / creative agency, and the business has owned a couple of comedy clubs, but essentially has been, I think, I'd like to say, extremely influential in terms of the South African comedy landscape, in terms of the work we've put in, and comedy, I think was our core. And after 12 years of the business, we are finally starting to diversify.
So how's that going for you? Post-COVID. I mean,
it's been exciting. I think post-COVID, the most difficult thing was getting the team to kind of snap out of survival mode. I think COVID forced us all into that almost the verge of desperation, where you got to grab every available opportunity. And I think it's very difficult, particularly for small businesses, to kind of step out of that and reassume the power of no. I think, the best lesson I've learned in the last 12 years is no thank you has become the most powerful thing that I can do within the business, because for me, it's one of our markers. If we're in a position where we can say no thank you, that for me is my definition of success. I think that's the easiest way to put it. So am I always in a position where I can vet the opportunity, make sure that opportunity aligns not only with my business's brand, but with my personal brand, and accept opportunities based on that, not based on the need for income. So I think you'll agree, to be in a business where money becomes your second priority and profit becomes your kind of second, but fulfillment, passion, drive, and actually enjoying what you do and having fun becomes our number one priority. So we consider ourselves very, very lucky, and so far so good.
So, I mean, talking about, having fun in a business like yours, this show, it's about really getting executives off the clock.
Yeah.
Like, the switching off from being more serious to relaxing a little bit. But I mean, I struggle to see that in your world where, it's all about laughs and jokes and all that. I mean, do you ever switch off? I mean, or you just on a high all the time, 24/7?
It's a great question, and I get asked that question all the time, but in the streets, never in a proper environment where I can capture the answer. So,
Like this. I mean, this is
exactly,
proper,
it is very proper. This is, there's 3 cameras here, guys. This is extremely proper. But it's, downtime is people always go, they ask my wife, is it like this all the time? Do you laugh all the time? And she's always polite and says yes. But, the truth is, I think like anybody, you've got to have a part of your life where you are forced to be on. And that's what we call it, particularly in entertainment, where the second I leave my house, I've got to be on. So when you start in entertainment and before anybody knows you, there's no expectation when you pull into your garage shop. Nobody recognizes you, so you can go in your rollers and your gown and your slippers. That's all cool. But the second people kind of start recognizing you, there's all of a sudden this subconscious pressure. Maybe it's a pressure we put on ourselves, but to always be Jason Goliath, the brand, the entertainer, the guy that's going to make you feel good, drop a little joke, and that's exhausting. So my downtime is generally trying to do as little as possible. So my wife will go, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I go, "I want nothing." And she goes, "Well, what is it? What do you want nothing?" I said, "No, I want nothing as the gift." And she goes, what does that mean?" And I go, "I just want a day where I don't have to talk if I'm not in the mood to talk. I want a day where there's nothing scheduled." And she says, "What does that mean?" And I go, "No, we live a life that's managed by the diary. So I want a day where nobody's waiting for me. I'm not late for anything. Nobody's expecting me. And a day where I can sleep till I'm finished sleeping and then see how I feel and decide what I'd like to do." I can think of no better luxury. I can think of no bigger luxury than being able to sleep until my body's done sleeping and then wake up and go, "What am I in the mood to eat? What am I in the mood to do?" And sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's just, purely checking out and escaping. And my biggest form of escapism is my PlayStation. And I play FIFA online. I don't watch football. Because I get too emotional, and then now you're swearing at the TV because Arsenal does what Arsenal does, and then you realize, but these people don't know me, and my debit orders are not involved in this emotion. So then I stopped watching football altogether. As an Arsenal fan, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Just stop watching. Just stop watching and ignore them when they phone you to say, "This looks like your season." Then you go, "No, we know this." So I do play online, and I enjoy it, but switching off and just doing nothing has become my favorite thing. And it gives me this ability to be either 110% on or absolutely off, which is difficult for my wife, for example. But for me, it allows me to, when I am on stage, almost guarantee my clients and audiences that you're going to get the best of me. You're going to get everything from me. I'd rather drop on stage than give you less than the best. But when I'm off, I'm off. Don't phone me. Don't talk to me. You're not even going to get blue ticks. I'm not even opening your message. Even if it starts with urgent, I'm not opening.
So maybe cut it before you take over. I'm an Arsenal fan.
So you know the pain.
For life.
I now understand. I always thought you were a little bit grumpy. Now it all makes sense to me. It's all clear now.
No, it's. I think it's a question of how you engage with with the team, not getting married to it, and understanding that it's a business as well. And there's going to be tough days and some days. It's not going to be happy days.
No. But that's a typical Arsenal supporter. Right? There'll be tough days, and there'll be 20 years of tough days. There'll be 20 years of toughness. You'll have one good day. You'll have false promises. You'll have hope, and we all know hope is the killer. You'll have hope and you think it's going to happen, and then nothing happens. So
football is not comedy, Jason. That's it.
That was like a little bit of therapy for all the Arsenal fans out there. It's like tough days, a good day. Okay, Jason. So you were explaining how you want things to be when basically you're off.
Yeah.
Because when you're on, you're on.
100%.
More than 100.
When I'm on, I'm going to give you all I have, every scrap, every scrap, and it's engineered. When I say engineered, it's like I've got the weirdest business. I have a business where my sister's our MD, and she's amazing, but she's worked with me for so long that I think every entrepreneur knows that if you can find somebody who will make decisions the way you would make them and be able to negotiate on your behalf the way you would negotiate. And she's become that person. So, she handles most of it. And as soon as that happened, I was able to kind of step away from the upfront negotiations, because what happens is, as an artist, is you go to a gig, and depending on what the gig is like, you now start thinking about how much you are and aren't being paid. Did they negotiate? Did they ask for a discount? Is it a charity? Are you doing this for free? And subconsciously, your service level changes. So if you're earning more than you ever earn, you show up with your Sunday best. But if the client didn't have bucks and you're doing them a favor and you're earning 10% of your normal rate, and then they're asking for extra things, your tolerance to be able to deliver at your normal service is always eroded. So in our business at the moment, our guys don't know how much they're earning. So myself, Donovan, Nicholas, Goliath, we arrive at your event knowing that you booked us to MC or to do stand-up comedy or to facilitate conversations or whatever it is, but we don't know what we're getting paid, which guarantees 150% of us all the time. So whether it's the gig that's paying me the most in my life or a gig that I'm doing for free, I don't want the audience to be able to feel a difference in performance level. You know what I mean? So it's literally managed that hard to be able to ensure. In my business, my presence is my business card. So what I'm doing on stage is what ensures the next gig. So every single time I go on stage, it doesn't matter whether there's 10 people in a room or 10,000 people in a room. Some of those people are probably going to be my next customer. This is my opportunity to introduce them to my service and what I do. You know what I mean? And that's the way we've got to think about it. And then you just make your life easy by removing the things that would hinder your service. So now I've removed thinking about money.
Okay.
95% of those decisions happen with the trust of the back office of my business. I trust them. We obviously do the reviews to make sure that we're always, sharpening our pencils and are still able to, help customers feel like there's a relationship and value. And then we pump.
All right.
I know we're supposed to be talking about downtime, but I get excited, guys.
Yeah. No, but that's a nice way to ensure like the quality of your service in a business. So for you guys, it seems to be working very well. So when you're not on, like you say you are, and you mentioned you play PlayStation as well. So it's like, what do you do in your downtime? Like, what are your hobbies? What is your go-to to relax you and be like, okay, I feel like myself again? Not Jason the brand, but just Jason.
Yeah. So a couple of things. The first one probably is PlayStation, which annoys my wife. Every time she hears that sound, it means I've switched it on. The mood I can feel, you know what I mean?
What is she saying? You're too old to be playing this, man. You're a grown
No, and it's got nothing to do with age. What it is I think as men, we get married, and then we think as men that presence equals attention. So just because I'm at home means I'm with you. No. If you're at home and you're playing PlayStation, you're not giving her any attention. In her mind, it's the same as me being in the streets. You know what I mean? So when it's her time, I've got to be focused on her, actually having conversations with her. So just being home. And I must be honest, I got married late and I was a deep bachelor by the time I got married. So it took me a good 2-3 years to understand that, because I go, what do you mean you want my attention? I'm with you all the time. And she goes, no, you're not. You may be in the same space as me, but actually engaging with me, you're not. So PlayStation has got to come after I give that attention. You first got to pay your attention installments, you know what I mean? And then you can get involved. So PlayStation is I think my number one. I love playing a bit of poker, and all of these things are just about absolute escapism. So for example, I don't enjoy a city holiday. If I'm a holiday for me, I want to go to an island. I want to go to an island where I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything. And literally the objective is to get tanned, not that I need it, sip cocktails, and rest and just do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people go, yeah, but you need a hobby. Everybody needs a hobby. And I go, yeah, you need a hobby when you hate your job. So if you're an accountant and spreadsheets are not, giving you, that feeling, then by all means, you need a hobby. You need to bungee jump and skydive on the weekends. But my job is my hobby. My, stand-up comedy is my favorite thing. It's the thing that gets my pulse going. It's the thing that gets my palms sweaty. It's the thing that gives me the butterflies in my stomach every single time I do it. And it's also a massive element of my social life. So my career is my hobby, is my social life, because I socialize with these people that I perform with generally, and I'm always in a social environment. So the flip side of that becomes doing as little as possible.
Let me check on your question.
Come on.
You got married late. What is late for you?
So I got married at what I think is the best age to get married, 38. I was 38 when I got married. 35, 36 when we started dating. And the only reason I say that is because 25-year-old Jason didn't know who he was. He didn't, 25-year-old Jason was still growing. He thought he knew everything. He was very arrogant, 25-year-old Jason, because he was very good with English and words and witty, and people liked him, and he thought he knew everything. But 25-year-old Jason had not bumped his head hard enough. He hadn't found the flaw. He hadn't understood how much pain the world can throw at you and how difficult things can be. And he hadn't had the joy of failure. And I say that, the joy of failure, because when you're failing, you're learning. And, I'm a big fan of that old saying that, pleasure is on the other side of pain. But 25-year-old Jason thought he'd seen things. He thought, but no. So for me, at 38, I may not have known what I want. I don't think we ever do, but I definitely knew what I don't want. Definitely knew what I didn't want. And I think that helped. And I think that's a big difference. And I also married somebody who's my age, who also knew herself, knew what she wanted. And it's made a massive difference, I think. I think it's you're rolling the dice. You get married before 30, You don't know who you're going to be at 35. You could be two different people. You could grow together. I mean, if you're married already and you're under 25, good luck. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So you mentioned like just traveling to an island and doing nothing, right? So what's your favorite place you've traveled to there?
Maldives. The Maldives, for me, I think every human being needs to feel like Jay-Z and Beyonce at some point in their life. And there's just something about the Maldives that just make you feel like you're actually a rock star. In the Maldives, you can run around the island. I've never run before the jokes come in my life, but you can. I've seen the thin people do it. You can run around the circumference of the island in like 15 minutes, some islands 10 minutes. And that's how small they are. So the point of that is you've got a couple of restaurants, you've got a couple of pools and bars and public areas, but then you also have a private piece of the beach where this is my beach. You can't swim here. Even if you walk past here, you must apologize to me because you're walking on my beach. You must excuse me. Sorry. I'm coming through. You know what I mean? And for me, that is what a luxury. You land in a seaplane, it's like a movie, and it's just impossibly beautiful. You know, it's beautiful even when it rains.
All right. So I think this is a question I should ask because I also play PlayStation. Besides FIFA, what do you play?
Nothing.
That's a shame, man.
So yeah, I know it's a shame, but you must remember, I'm very conscious of this position. I don't earn money here.
Yeah, obviously.
So if I'm in this position, I don't earn money. And because this is a very easy position to get stuck in, I had to put limitations in. So I used to have FIFA Mondays. Before COVID, I refused to play online. So no online. I wouldn't even update the game. I just buy the new game every year. But every Monday, my boys would come to the house and we would play FIFA until we were done. Because we're comedians. So generally, we're not working on a Tuesday morning. And that was it. And what it was this ability to go, how much time am I dedicating to this PlayStation? Because the PlayStation can chow all of your time. And in terms of finding balance, that's why. So I started playing online because of COVID and the boys couldn't come around anymore.
Yeah.
And now I still play online, but I only play with my boys. So if you're available, we'll have a game. And other than that, I'll maybe play seasons so that I'm not getting too sucked in. So while I'm here, I'm not thinking about the structure of my team and what I've got to do to try and buy a new player. No, I'm not managing teams. Remember, it's downtime, no stress, do as little as possible. And I'm willing to take on challenges. You know what I mean? I'm not bad. I like your body language is just like, I can take you.
I mean, it's facts. I can't take you.
Yeah, that's your body language. The children must learn. Hey, you know, to beat somebody in front of their father is not a fun thing, but I mean, somebody's got to do it. Nobody's got to do it.
I would like to watch. So you guys get the match. And,
Done.
I'll watch. But
Done.
let's.
I'll make you proud.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, to lose in a denim shirt is harsh. It's harsh.
Let's just rev it up a little bit. I mean, you look so chilled every time I've seen you. I mean, it's like you're on a high all the time. I mean, how do you deal with stress, if any? You know,
so
do you even get stressed? I mean, that's.
I get stressed all the time. I think, you know.
How do you deal with it?
You know, I'm a big fan of mindset and being able to manage my state of mind. And I think more importantly than that is I'm very conscious of how much control I have over my state of mind. So, you know, there's many sayings that I subscribe to, and one of them is the 5%, 95%, where you know, many books have written about it's 5% what happened, 95% how you react, how you respond.
Yeah.
And I think what I've done is over the years really just conditioned my brain to be as in control as possible. I never think you're fully in control of how I react, how I respond, but more importantly, what I give my energy to. You must also remember the benefit of being an accountant is you can do a spreadsheet in a good mood or a bad mood. The numbers are the numbers. But what I do requires me to be in a good mood. You know what I mean? It requires me to be in a positive energy. And because I'm conscious of that, I really do try to lean towards that positive energy. And then just acceptance is I've accepted that it is what it is. And a lot of people think that's a very negative or kind of, you know, shrug your shoulders, throw your hands up type of way to respond. But for me, pretending something is what it isn't is, I think, a lot of the mistake. And I think a lot of people get themselves into a rabbit hole in their head, which amplifies the stress and anxiety. So when it comes to stress, anxiety, I definitely sometimes just have to stop, take a couple of breaths, take a step back. And when I take a step back, it never looks as bad as I think it is. And then make the hard decisions. I think the fundamentals of entrepreneurship are the one who's able to make the hard decisions is the one who's going to be the most successful. The one who doesn't need to be liked, the one who simply is making decisions that feeds the objective. And that's it. And I kind of, I was forced to read a book, because I don't read a lot, but I was forced to read a book called The Leader with No Title. And what the book left me with was, first, be the CEO of you. We all aspire for these titles, and then often these titles are given to us by institutions, and then we link our power personally to that title, and then somebody else has the power to take it away or give you more. And then I go, no, for me, I must first be the CEO of me. So how would I run me as a business? How would I manage me as a product? How would I manage me as a client? So now I'm not only my own CEO, but I'm also my own human resources. So I've got an issue. I try to unpack it like a business person would, with logic, because you can get in your head or you can just dollar.
I can't resist this. I mean, there's this advert that you strapped up in a taxi, like matatu, if you're in Kenya, a taxi, and trying to raise this, super racing car. So tell us a little bit more about that, because it was hilarious, man.
So I've got a beautiful series on Red Bull TV called Giving It Gears with Jason Goliath, where the idea for the series was birthed in, I think it was 2018. We shot a great video with Red Bull as a gift to the city of Cape Town, where I was a taxi driver in a typical South African taxi racing against a Formula One car. And it was this great setup where it looked like the taxi was keeping up, and it was outstanding. Just as if you're a patriot of Cape Town, you would have loved the video. But Red Bull really loved the characters. The characters worked well, and what the character allowed for was, I think, that's something that they struggled with as a business for a long time, trying to humanize these sports personalities and trying to get some content out of them that wasn't just based on what they actually do, which, if you look at their content, is essentially Red Bull just show you what people do, because what they do is exciting enough. But how do we get the personalities out? And using my skill sets obviously as a comedian, but also as a presenter and a talk show host, it really helped me showcase these talents in a way that was not only entertaining, but made them comfortable to let their guard down and just be themselves. So we did the first ad was Cape Town. We then have got the series. We've also done a second one with Brad Binder, the fastest motorcyclist in South Africa.
All right. So something I wanted to know was, how do you, because you're technically a famous person.
Quarter to famous, I call it. Quarter to some easy. Like, I'm not on the dot, but I'm quarter to, almost.
Get in there.
All right. So how do you handle interacting with people that you would classify as your fans at the end of the day, your supporters and all that? How do you...
So, man, that's a good question. Firstly, I'd like to think I'm amazing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm amazing at it, but I'm not amazing at it naturally. So what happened was, and years ago, so when I first started being recognized, we're talking about 3 or 4 years into stand-up and doing TV ads and TV shows, etc.
That guy.
And 100%, there's that guy, you know what I mean? He's the guy from, they used to call me, the guy from, aren't you the guy from? And I'll never forget, saying to my mom, I was just like, hey man, people don't have respect for your personal space. And she said, what do you mean? I'm like, no, somebody will wait for the spoon to be here, and then they'll go, hey, can we have a selfie? And I'm like, you can see I'm eating, or you know what I mean? And my mom said the most profound thing to me. She simply said, my boy, that is the last time I will ever tolerate you complaining about the things you prayed for. And I said, what do you mean? She said, people recognizing you and wanting to take a picture of you and wanting to celebrate you is a direct side effect of your prayers being answered. I remember you praying that comedy works out. I remember you praying that you got the role in those auditions. And she said, I'm so tired of people who pray for things and then complain about the things. So somebody prayed the day they put the CV in that they're going to get the job. And now on a Monday morning, they're going, I can't believe I've got to go work. You know what I mean? And she goes, do not complain about the things you pray for, which has become a little mantra. And it also means I've got tolerance. So if I'm at a show and somebody wants to take a selfie, people got to wait. I will take as many selfies as you want. I'm saying people got to wait. I'm talking about my wife and my team and my crew. They're going to wait until, and as many people as possible or who want a picture are going to are going to get a picture because my mom's words are true. Every time somebody asks me for a selfie, my brain now goes, oh my God, my prayers have been answered. Yes, please, let's take a selfie. Yes, please. But, it's hard. I can't fluke anybody in the traffic because they know who I am now. You know what I mean? Jason Goliath cut me off and threw a zap sign. Nope, can't do that. I can't. So if you do cut me off, you just get a smile now. You just,
can see you.
Get a smile. And I can't. I've got to be conscious. I wish I was famous in the 90s, where there was no record. The camera, everybody's ready to go. So you also just have to conduct yourself in a very, very strict way. And luckily, years ago, I just made a rule where I was like, my aspiration as a human is to be the same person in every environment.
You mentioned a little bit about sleep, that you sleep a lot. But I mean, how's your quality of sleep? Do you sleep really well? I mean, get nightmares?
I sleep very well. As you get older, I think falling asleep becomes a little bit more challenging. And I used to be the type of guy. I was looking for backup, and I saw you just left me in the cold there. But so I've always been somebody who just loves sleep, and I've always been a nocturnal person. So always better at night. Love sleeping in is my style. So I don't subscribe to that 5 a.m. club, but I do subscribe to the know your 5 a.m. And the only reason I don't subscribe to the 5 a.m. club is because the 5 a.m. clubbers are in bed at 9. So I do sleep well. As you get older and you try and do more things, obviously I think switching off and getting the brain to shut down takes a while. And then I've just invested in a couple of things. So I've got an aircon in the room. I've got a very comfortable bed. I've got a magnificent pillow, and my wife bought me satin pillowcases. You know what I mean? So that it's also just gentle on the skin. So making sure, and that's the investment in sleep.
Egyptian cotton.
Hey, thread counts, my friend. Thread counts, and it's those little things that I have kind of spent time on, and I sleep beautifully. I sleep beautifully. I try to stick to the sleep cycles. But for me, 7 hours, that's my mark. If I can get 7 hours, I'm great. I can operate on 5. 6 is weird, 8 is weird, but the others are cool.
Great. All right. So what's something, I want to know what's your, like in your line of work? So because you said your job is your hobby, your social life and all those things that encompass such a big part of your life. So what inspired you to become or go through with this career path?
Failure, man. I failed so badly. So in my 30s, I'll just give you a brief rundown of my career. So I started out working the microphone at a macro every weekend as a student. I was studying marketing, and I was doing experiential marketing for really DSTV at the time.
Did you say macro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You were those guys.
I was the guy on the floor with a microphone in my hand. And my friends used to go at me. I speak about it all the time. Clean up on aisle 7, clean up on aisle 7. And then I have to say, my card doesn't decline. My card, you must take, got to do what you got to do. But it was, so I met an amazing guy called Craig Berman, who was, I think, my first great mentor. And Craig had written and patented a selling a technique that he'd sold as a product to macro. And it was just a selling technique that allowed you to sell the opposite of the standard retail trend, so the standard retail is you'll sell high volumes of low priced goods. This just bucked that and afforded them an opportunity to sell high volumes of high priced goods. And we had an amazing program, so amazing in fact that I then became marketing manager of the macro store. It was my first ever proper job.
Wow.
And to my credit, I was the youngest leveled manager in Massmart history at the time. So I was 21 years old, car allowance, of course, didn't buy a house, bought a BMW. Because idiot. Yeah, because idiot. Still an idiot. I always say I got to get a tattoo that says, I'm not rich, I'm irresponsible. I think that'll be the tattoo. I then did sales training and facilitation after I was poached from Macro and helped launch all of the Hi-Fi Corporation stores, just in terms of their openings, training all of their sales staff. And that was when Hi-Fi Corp was booming back in the days, early 2000s.
I remember those days.
And they were the place to go. I mean, an opening for a Hi-Fi Corp would have a 2-kilometer queue out the door. It was that crazy back in the day. After sales facilitation, I did casino hosting, where I worked for Empress Palace. Then it was still Caesar's Palace on the casino floor as the host. And it was always this battle between, do I want to be an entertainer or do I want to be in business? And then I realized that, entertainers are broke. You dry lips. You see them in fancy clothes and Gucci and Armani, but they're driving old VW Beetles that leak oil. I was like, there's a misconnect here. I then left that and started an insurance brokerage. Well, I started working for an insurance company as a consultant, but was then offered an opportunity to start a franchise.
Insurance?
Yes, for many years. So I owned a brokerage from 2005. We went under in 2010 in spectacular fashion. And I worked hard. I had myself and a business partner, and we did what I thought was the right thing. We put our money back into the business. We didn't live lavishly, and the 2008 financial crisis presented some issues, and we changed our business model, did some business with the wrong people, and got taken for millions. And it was massive. So 2010, I go through my first liquidation, and it was horrific because at the time, I'd not only lost all of my money, because, I once read a Donald Trump quote. I hate quoting Trump, but I once read a Donald Trump quote where he said he walked out of a liquidation of his building, sees a homeless man sitting on the pavement, and he says to his consultant, I can't believe this guy's better off than me. And his business consultant says, what do you mean? And he goes, no, this guy's at zero. I'm at minus $1 billion, because that's what a liquidation does. So I wish I was at zero. And that's how I felt, because I was in 2010 at like minus 12 million rand, and I didn't spend any of that money. But it was hectic. My business partner left the country with his family because he's got to protect them. I didn't have kids at the time, and the company was a CC. If you know the rules, jointly and severally liable means I was liable.
Yeah.
So I'd lost everything. My girlfriend had left me for my best friend, so I lose 2 relationships. It was rough. No, it was rough. And then I was like, okay, so I've got nothing. What should I try? And I tried, I thought acting and presenting would be the thing. I meet a guy called Sirvin Gesi, who's now one of my best friends. And after a week of doing a big Casa Lager ad with Siv goes, I think you should try stand-up. And I go, hey, bro, I'm probably funny. I'm funny with the Owens. I'm not stage funny. And he goes, no, bro, you've been making us laugh all week, which means you enjoy making people laugh. And I'm not saying you to be the next Trevor Noah, relax. I'm saying you should try stand-up as a hobby. So he said, don't put the pressure of a career on it. I just really think it'll be a great release for you and something you'll enjoy. I then had a conversation with Nicholas Goliath about what Siv had said. Nick and I were very drunk that day. And the next day, Nicholas made an appointment. And then called me up while I was hungover and said, okay, I've done it. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, no, we spoke yesterday about the fact that we're both going to start stand-up comedy. And I said, no, but my man, we were drinking Black Label. You can't make contracts. You can't make contracts on Black Label. And the guy says, yeah, the auntie gave me a hard time. We can't cancel. So I said, well, how long do we have? And he said, no, the date is in 6 weeks. We've got 6 weeks. I said to him, cool, tell your wife we're going to go to the comedy club, which is the Underground in Melville, one of the greatest clubs to ever have existed in the country. And I said, tell your wife we're going to go there for every Sunday for the next 6 weeks to see what it's about. 3rd of July, 2011, did my first time. And it was like a movie, that waiting to exhale. Like it felt like my whole life seated in that first set. And I still didn't think it would be a career, but it was just the greatest thing I'd ever done and the greatest feeling I'd ever had. And my brain went, I've got to work as hard as possible to do this as much as possible. So I was willing to go and work so I can pay to do comedy. That's how much I love comedy. And to be able to earn your living on something that you would pay to do, never mind do for free, is insane. Makes me luckier than a lottery winner.
That's a powerful story, man. It's really started from the bottom. I mean, you lost things, you came back, and
I still don't answer private numbers. I still don't answer. And even if I owe you now, it's prescribed. Leave me alone. Speak to my lawyers.
So it's left a lot of scars on your body. We won't ask you to take off your shirt.
No. People will get seasick. But again. So one of my mates asked me the other day, and I get asked the question a lot, but he asked me with such sincerity, like, if you met 18-year-old Jason or 25-year-old Jason and you had 3 minutes, what did you say?
That was the next question,
yeah,
by the way.
What did you say? And I get that question. And my answer to that question, sincerely, is I would hide behind a bush and not let him see me. I wouldn't say a thing. I would not say a thing. Because firstly, 18-year-old and 25-year-old Jason were too arrogant. They didn't want to listen. They thought they knew everything. So even if 18-year-old me met me now, he'd probably tease me about this beard. What do you think you're doing with this beard? And then he'd say, you messed up your life. I'm not going to make those mistakes. And he'd go make the mistakes. Then I realized that if I change anything, I'm not going to make all of the mistakes that were crucial to my success. I needed to bump my head all those times. As terrible as it was, guys, there were times that I wanted to take my life. That's how low it was. But if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't have learned the things, you learn things at varsity, but life, the school of life, I think is where you get your real stripes. And I needed to bump my head. I needed to learn things, which has helped me switch it. So my sum in my 20s was always success equals happiness. So money would equal happiness. The more money you have, the happier you would be. That is my sum, and that's what I chased with all my heart. And the sum is the same in my 30s, or through my 30s. I'm in my 40s now already. But the sum remained the same, but I realized that the equal sign is bi-directional. So if I say success equals happiness, happiness also equals success. So instead of chasing the success and chasing the money, I chase the happy.
Do you have kids, brothers? I know you got your sister is managing you very well, by the way.
She does. She does an excellent job. So it's just the two of us. I've got a younger sister who's our MD. Nicholas Goliath is my first cousin. Our dads are brothers, who is also a partner in the business. And then we met a guy called Donovan Goliath the week after we started comedy. He just happened to have the same surname.
Not relation. Not even by blood.
Not even by blood. And it was amazing to not only meet, because Goliath is a relatively rare surname, and you meet this guy doing the same thing with the same surname. And that's why the business is Goliath and Goliath. So Goliath, Kate, Nicholas, and Jason, the family, and Goliath, the other family, Donovan. And he feels like family now. But what a wonderful thing. And kids, no. No, thank you, I should say. No, thank you. My wife and I have decided
to take a pass on that.
Yeah, and I think that our fight is always people going, "Oh, I can't believe that," and I go, "No, but you can't have it as a win-lose in your mind." Like for me, having kids or not having kids shouldn't be a win-lose. You've got to think about the individuals and make sure the individuals are winning. So my wife and I chose a different lifestyle.
Let's take it to diet. I mean, it looks like you're looking good. You're eating well.
I've actually put on, I'm about 5 kilos up from where I was. I've had a winter, man. Winter, the carbs call you. The carbs call you in winter, and I don't feel like a man only eating 2 slices, man. You know what I mean? I need 4 slices at least. So I'm a little bit chops. But let me let you finish your question. Yeah.
But I mean, on a normal day, if you could eat what you really like eating, how's that look like?
Bacon and egg sandwich, a toasted bacon and egg, no cheese, just bacon and a well-done egg. For me, it's the Lord's work. I think it is the perfect sandwich. A toasted bacon and egg. It's something that first lie. Come on. 2 eggs, 6 rashes, white bread. Brown bread still tastes a bit like poverty. We've been through too much in this country. We've been through too much. Brown bread still suffers here. Whole wheat, poverty. Whole wheat is like the same as the green zambak. It's got the same, you know what I mean? And then I think my favorite food group is curry. My parents are both from Durban, so yeah, if I can have a toasted bacon and egg I'm even salivating for brunch, let's call it. And if I can have a chicken curry, lamb curry, trotters curry, and rice, roti or naan, you can decide. I'm happy with mostly naan and roti. But yeah, a good. Look, I'm not proud of this, but I did say to my wife, listen, things are going well. I really like you. But if you can't make a chicken curry and roti, then I don't think this is going anywhere. I think that, you know what I mean? And that was a conversation that we had.
Damn, man, this is
no, it didn't. No,
you see, this guy when he talks about food, he's like,
I get happy, guys. I get happy. No, I always tell people, like, you know what I mean? Look at me. You can see I love food. I'm not one of those big guys that pretend to not love food. Like, I have such an intimate relationship with food. I'm the type of guy that, let me tell you how much I love food. I'm the type of guy that let's just say you invite me for that lamb curry and roti, right? And I have the first bite and it's delicious. Alarm bells go up in my brain to go slow down. Because otherwise I'll just blank out and I smash the whole thing and I don't appreciate it. I eat too fast, you know what I mean? Then my brain will go slow down and savor every bite. To have an experience. It must be an experience, culinary experience.
So your relationship,
I really am mouthful.
Your relationship with food is better than your relationship with money.
Very true. I have a horrible relationship with money. A horrible relationship with money. I don't respect money nearly enough. It's a problem.
We've actually been talking a lot about your career.
Yeah.
Because we can't separate you from having fun without your career and all that. So something I would like to know, whether your career is going to come in on this or not, is what's the most adventurous thing you've done? Like, maybe even it's a tick on your bucket list even.
But apart from the taxi advert.
So weirdly, the taxi advert inspired some of the biggest adventures of my life, only because the series is about exactly that. And so the most adventurous stuff that I've done, so the most of the adventurous thing I've done off camera is bungee jumping. And I know for everybody out there, you think that everybody's bungee jumped, but I just want you to know that I was the second heaviest person to ever jump at Vic Falls at the time. Like the guys, you know, when you see nerves in the people's eyes, like they were like, and yeah, I was 10 kgs heavier then. And I was upset because the guy, I asked the guy, like, you know, what's the heaviest you've ever had? And the heaviest I ever had was 140 kilos. And I was 138.6, somewhere there. And I was so mad because I was like, if I didn't go to the bathroom that morning, I would have been the heaviest. You know what I mean? I would have had the record. But when you're very heavy and you got that ankle harness, it was the most excruciating thing I've ever felt. My body was just too heavy. It was the most painful thing that to the time that I'd ever experienced was bungee jumping, because like I'd do it again if you had a waist harness. But all of my 138 kilos on my, because you know your feet don't grow with your body, like your feet don't reflect your poop size. And now my ankles were like built for 84 kilos, and oh my goodness. So bungee jumping, but other than that, I've got to do some crazy things. I've got to do. I've only tapped out. The only thing I've tapped out of is I went in Pat Davidson, who is the South African aerobatics champion. I went in his plane and we did some flips at 7G. My body just felt like a tube of toothpaste being squeezed, and I was like, no more. So that was incredible. I think one of the greatest adventures, and I encourage everybody to do it, is just go to Egypt. Like Egypt will blow your mind in terms of the history and the culture and being able to see things that were built 5,000 years ago that still don't have explanations. You know, seeing it on books and seeing it in real life was a great adventure. But I've had too many to mention.
Jason, thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Are we done?
You wanna say maybe something to us? I mean, you know, as a parting shots.
So if I met you guys, let's just say I met you in a bar and the event. Not that you go to bars. I'm just saying. Let's just say it was you know, you forced your dad to come with you to a bar. I would have no idea. I would have no idea. And the second I engaged with you, so when I first engaged with you, I had no idea what your title was. I had no idea what business or industry you were in, and I could only go on the way you presented yourself, the way you engaged with me, and the way you treated me. And I think instead of saying anything, I want to compliment you and go. Firstly, you don't need to be that nice. Yeah, you know, you don't. And it's. I think that, you know, I've learned a lot from you, just in terms of A, what you do for a living, and B, the way you carry yourself as a human being. I think that, you know, we can all learn a lot from you in terms of that, the humility, and then you've got this quiet, subtle intelligence about yourself. There's like, because you're a hugely intimidating man. I'm sure you know that. A quiet, subtle intimidation, and then still the family guy. You know, still the take your wife on dates guy. You know, my wife saw you guys out the other day, and she was like, I don't want to, you know, go and disturb, because it looked like they were on a date. So what I do want to say is I think that this is great. I think that the perspectives are great, and I really look up to you. Not only that you run such a big business, but the fact that you're still a nurse and you still take time, because don't you have to like re-register every year and make sure that your things are up to date. And the fact that you're a nurse is great. Like, I always hope that if something bad is to happen, it's going to happen in your presence. Not that I want mouth to mouth from you, but I'm just saying that the fact that you know what to do in the case of an emergency. Imagine something that can save your business and your life in one human being. It's not fair. It's really not fair. So I marvel at that, and then I marvel at the way you invite me here. You know, my son said I must do a podcast, so we're doing it. My son said I must invite you, so I'm doing it. My son said no, he doesn't like the way that is. We must do it this way, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Somebody in your position doesn't like to listen to sons, likes to tell sons what to do. Huh?
So I listen, right?
Yeah. No, you listen, but he's also
Jason, I mean, thank you very much, man, for the compliments, for appearing on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Respect, man.
Respect. Wishing you guys nothing but the best, man. Keep keeping on, and hopefully I will see you soon.